So moving on to the next thing, we're going to talk about a look at the upcoming NBA free agency class. And this is something that I know that Mr. 1989 will love because he is a diehard Clippers fan. And I know he has all of his stakes on the Clippers free agency situation. And so, okay, I got two things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about which team is the better free agent destination, the Knicks, the Clippers, or the Nets. Because I think right about now, those three teams, to me, stand out as potentially the most desirable places to go for multiple free agents. Now, you could go and join LeBron, or you could go and join, if for instance, Klay Thompson left or Kevin Durant left, you could go and try to fill their spot with Golden State or whatever. But as the team is currently constructed without losing any of the major pieces on the current team, which team would you think is the best? So which one should we go to first? Should we look at the upcoming NBA free agency class overall? Well, I think we should probably talk about the destinations first.
Okay, so let's talk about the destinations first.
Okay.
So for the Knicks, so you have Knicks, Clippers, and Nets in that order, right?
No, well, not. I didn't put it in order necessarily, but I have Knicks, Clippers, or Nets. Which of those three teams do you think is three teams offer the best free agent situation for top tier?
Okay, so here's the thing. I think we need to take some of the simplicity out of the question because the free agents are different ages, positions, and points in their career.
Well, I said what I meant is top tier. I said the second time I mentioned it, I said top tier free agents. So I'm talking about
even in the top tier
guys.
Kyrie Irving is younger than Kevin Durant. Yeah. Kawhi Leonard is in between those two, and I think those years make a difference. So I think for a guy like Kevin Durant, if when I was watching the playoffs, I'm thinking if Kevin Durant was on the Nets, they would destroy the 76ers. Literally just that. And I'm just watching the games and I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. If they simply had Kevin Durant and nothing else about this team was different, they would destroy the Sixers and probably be the favorites to go to the finals. So for that reason, I think the Nets would be a great place for Durant to go right now. I don't think that's a great situation for Kyrie Irving because they have D'Angelo Russell. And even though Kyrie Irving is a better player than D'Angelo Russell, if they gave up D'Angelo Russell to get Kyrie Irving and his bulky knees and non-passing self, I'll flip a table up in here. So I don't want that to happen. So I don't think Kyrie Irving works in Brooklyn. I think Kyrie Irving to the Clippers, if Kyrie and Kawhi went to the Clippers, that team automatically launches into the stratosphere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you're saying, did you say who on the Clippers now?
Kyrie and Durant on the Clippers, Kyrie and Kawhi on the Clippers.
Yeah.
I think both of those situations work out really, really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think Kawhi would work really well in one of the New York teams. I think that would be a great move for him because he's young enough that he can wait 1 or 2 years for them to come along. That's my problem with KD. He's 30. The Knicks are so young. I like a lot of the Knicks players. I love everybody loves Mitchell Robinson now, but we love Mitchell Robinson. I think Knox is going to be fine. I think very highly of Trier. I mean, any rookie that for most of his rookie season was almost 50% from the field and 40% from three in a fairly limited role. That's going to be great going forward. He has a lot of potential. But I think the Knicks need another year or two to bake. So I think the younger free agents could go to New York, low expectations, let them bake a little while. The other key with the Knicks is who do they get in the draft? Because you're like me. If we get Ja Morant, again, you trade Ja Morant for one of these fools, table flip. I want to see it. I don't care. I want to see it. Right? I want to see with this triple-double monster jumping over people, faster than everybody, ball handle, great passer, don't play no defense, but who does? I want to see that on my team first, especially when we got a bunch of young talent. Because you're in a Golden State, Sacramento Kings, Philadelphia 76ers situation where you have a bunch of young players and y'all just need to sit back, coach them, and see what spots you need to fill. You need to be a little more patient. I think the Clippers and the Nets don't need to be patient. Out of those two destinations, here's the problem. The Clippers are in the Western Conference, whereas the Nets, I think, can see immediate success because if Kawhi leaves, ultimately you're just dealing with Milwaukee. I think everything else is not an issue.
You
Mazique, you
know,
good?
I
Oh,
feel
there
I
you go.
feel like I really love the Clipper core. I really do. And I also really love the Knicks core. I think but I also like Brooklyn, and that's the reason why I put those three teams there, and also because of their financial situation. They all three of those teams are among the teams, the three highest teams, or the teams that are estimated to have the most money to spend on free agency
And they all have great coaches, and they all appear to have great front offices right now.
right now. Yeah, it would seem everything is in place. If I were to like just kind of start putting players different places and just saying put these guys here, put these guys here, put these guys here, and I was totally separating what I want from my team and all of that, I would say Kyrie and Kevin Durant go to the Knicks, and if the Knicks get the #1 pick, you take Zion Williamson. And I think with what they have right now, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, with Zion Williamson, Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, Alonzo Trier, Dennis Smith Jr. coming off the bench, or maybe you move him and add something else. That is a team that should come out of the East, to me. I mean, the only
See,
way I think that they shouldn't come out of the East is if somebody gets injured.
so
Because
here's what I don't like about it.
Mhm.
What I love about both the Clippers and the Nets is you have a lot of guys who know how to play.
Mhm.
Now, the Nets have a problem. They don't have any bigs, really. All right, Jared Allen's going to turn into a good player. We don't know if he's a 4 or a 5, but they need 1 or 2 more big bodies. But I'm looking at both the Clippers and the Nets, and I'm saying, man, these guys are just a superstar away from being a serious problem.
Right.
Now, what I like about the Clippers is defensively, they're excellent. What I don't love about them is I don't think their structure is in place long term. They got Lou Williams scoring a bunch of buckets. You got to replace that and then see what happens next. I don't think Pat Beverly's a long term solution, you know?
He's not.
And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, great young point guard, but he looks like he could be a great young backup, be your Sean
Yeah.
Livingston going down the road. He doesn't necessarily look
Mhm.
like it. Whereas I look at the Nets, and first of all, Sean Marks might be a genius, right? Because we have to remember that the Nets turned into the Nets coming from a horrible situation. This team should be the laughing stock of the league after that trade with Boston. And they are literally in a position where they could leapfrog Boston next year if the summer goes bad for Boston and good for them, right?
Right.
And that's
And,
that's crazy. That's like
and I
crazy that they're in that position.
and I actually have the formula for them to leapfrog Boston. If and I don't think that what I'm saying here is like completely far-fetched, right? So here's what I think is best for the Clippers. And so Mr. 1989, get ready. You're either ready to throw something at your screen or get ready to applaud. I think ideally for the Clippers is Kemba Walker and Kawhi Leonard.
I think that's great for them.
I
I
think
agree.
and I think it's not a implausible concept because they're already running an offense in a way where the point guard, lead guard up top is free to score. I mean, if think about it like this, if you bring Lou Williams back, right? If you got Lou Williams, you got Kemba Walker starting at point guard. You put Lou Williams in the same situation he's supposed to be. If he's hot, you got them both on the floor at the same time. But you also got Kawhi freaking Leonard. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that is the best scenario for the Clippers right there. And you're taking a team who was able to be really competitive with a team that everybody thinks is going to win the championship. You know, I mean, you got to think about it. If the Clippers were playing another team outside of Golden State, are we looking at a 7-game series in the first round, or are we looking at them pulling an upset? I think they made a good enough account of themselves against the Warriors to wonder about that as they are currently constructed. You add in Kemba Walker and Kawhi Leonard without taking away any major contributor. I think you got
And I tell you what,
you got a
Kemba Walker's
situation.
greatest weakness is his defense.
Yes, that is true.
But you give him the Doc Rivers
Yes,
and watch out.
and he'll at least be something that's not a deficiency.
Correct.
He'll.
And with Kawhi on that roster, with everything else they have going, and Jerry West in the front office, yeah, I think if they got their hands on Kawhi Leonard and Kemba Walker, they'd be a serious problem. I don't know where Kyrie Irving should go. I almost feel like he should stay in Boston, to be honest with you. The Knicks would make sense right now, but if they get Ja Morant, then all of a sudden it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. If the Knicks got Ja Morant, then yes, that doesn't make sense. But for me, I feel like for the Knicks, I almost feel like, and I know this is not what you want, but I almost feel like Zion makes more sense for them.
But they don't have a choice in that. They have a draft. That's what I'm saying. Like, the draft is a roll of the dice.
No. I'm saying even if say for instance the Knicks get the number 1 pick, right? Then they do have a choice because they're the ones setting the pace.
I think they're going to take Zion if they get number 1.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying like because they don't have to. They could trade back and say we really like Ja, and we traded back to number 2 to somebody who really wanted Zion and added assets for that. I know you probably love that. I don't think it would be a horrible thing.
No, I'm 50-50. I don't know what Zion's going to turn into.
Right.
So I would, if either way, if they did that, I would be happy if we got Zion. I would be happy if we got Ja. My thing is, whoever goes first is definitely 110% going to take Zion Williamson. I don't think there's an NBA owner who's going to pass up on him, like anywhere.
Yeah,
because he's just too box office.
I would hope the Bulls would. I really would.
See, I don't think they would, though. I think that's why I say with the Knicks, I say if they get Ja Morant, because I think whoever goes second is probably going to take Ja Morant, right?
Yeah, I honestly, I would rather be second. I would rather be second in this draft because I wouldn't want to be the person who passed on Zion.
I'm with you.
But I wouldn't mind not getting Zion.
Yeah.
Because you never know. Maybe Zion is a transcendent player. But everything in over 35 years of basketball tells me that a guy who I think when the combine numbers come out is going to measure something like 6'5" 3/4. I'm just telling you, I've been looking at these guys and estimating heights right before the combine for over 10 years and writing scouting reports for these guys. When I look at him and I see him stand next to players on the floor, and I see him stand next to different athletes who he's being interviewed by, and we know their heights and so on, he looks like he's going to measure 6'5" 3/4, somewhere in there at the combine. So we're talking about a 6'5", 6'6", to just go ahead and give him that 275-pound power forward.
Well, here's my thing with that I give up to him, right? We've seen really, really unique players before, and I've never seen anything like Zion Williamson. I watched Larry Johnson. It wasn't Zion Williamson.
It wasn't like that.
I watched Charles Barkley. It wasn't Zion Williamson.
The nimbleness is what's the difference.
Zion Williamson is Shaq meets Vince Carter, right? So I don't know what happens with that.
You know what I think it is more so than that? And I got it because I got a new comp for him. I used to say Larry Johnson, Kenneth Faried, but I think that's actually a little too low. What I think he is there's a lot of Dominique Wilkins in him.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of Dominique Wilkins in him. But then on the other hand, from a defensive and a rebounding standpoint, he is like an undersized. And somebody saying Sean Marion, I can kind of see that too. It's like a
But he's
Sean.
so much more agile than
He's
Sean
so much
Marion,
more.
bro.
He's much
That's what I'm
like his
saying. He's
feet are
like
so
nobody I've
good.
ever seen. Yeah, like you look at his hop steps, his instincts,
Dude,
his motor, his
the high,
attitude. Like,
his attitude, and that doesn't get enough credit.
yeah. And
That
he's
doesn't get enough
18
credit.
years old. Like we judging him like he's a college graduate. He's
See,
he he was a prom this time last year.
See, I love this kid, right? I love this kid. I think he is a fantastic kid. Like, and I don't think it's an act. I don't think it's him just
No,
front.
it's
I
too
don't think it's
genuine.
that at all. I think this is a really good kid. And he happens to be a freak of nature athlete. But what worries me is that we're talking about a 6'6" power forward who is overly dependent on athleticism that he will not have on this level for that long.
I
And
agree. Well, here's the thing. He has athleticism, right?
mhm,
So he's going to be reliant on it. I don't
of
want to
course.
punish. I don't want to punish him for that. I want to say, what other skills do you have besides that?
Oh, you know what? I got a better comp. I just got it. I
Okay,
just
what you
got it.
got? What you got?
Dominique Wilkins, Derrick Rose.
Get out of here, man. Ain't that,
Dude,
you know
here's what
Zion's good at defense, right?
Derrick wasn't a horrible defender, but he was nowhere. Yeah, and you're right about that. I should have put somebody who was more defensive focused in that comp. But what I'm saying when I say that, I'm talking more from a physical standpoint, right? Because
But he's bigger than both of those guys on the same scale.
well, no, I don't no. That Neek was a good 230, 235. Neek
But
was a
he,
strong guy.
but he was 6'8".
Yeah, no.
Zion 6'5" and
Here
60
here
pounds heavier than
here,
Dominique Wilkins.
no, I don't think he's 6. He's a big, but here's my point. Here's why I'm saying that, right? I'm saying that from an athletic standpoint because the torque and the explosiveness that he possesses in short areas and short spaces, the way he explodes off 2 feet
Yeah, I'm
is
with you on all that.
very similar to Rose and Dominique. Neek depended a lot on strength. A lot. If you look at Neek in Georgia when he played in college basketball, he did a lot from the post
But
with
at
the
the same
turnaround.
time, Neek wasn't, because here's the thing, and this is more of a thing in football, right? You notice how in football, sometimes the shorter the running back, the harder they are to deal with,
The better.
right?
I've
Because
always felt that way.
so there's exceptions, but like generally, when you
Yeah,
get those
lower
guys that's
center of
like
gravity.
5'10", and see,
Yeah.
this is the thing about Zion. Until he gets to the NBA, we don't know how much of a factor that is. So, and this is what I'm saying. When the guy is coming in a super marketable package, like you talking about, season tickets for Chicago and New York. We're brainwashed. Everybody goes to see them, no matter what they do. But there's other TV deals, marketing opportunities, commercials, and stuff like that, branching of all kinds, merchandise. You're just not gonna pass up Zion Williamson. So that's why I say with New York is who they get. It's only a 14% chance to get the top pick. People talking about like New York has the best chance. They don't have the best chance. They just can't fall below
No. They
5.
don't. They don't have
So
the. They
my
don't have
thing
the.
is, if they get second, they're probably gonna wind up with Ja. If they get third, they're probably going to wind up with RJ Barrett. And whoever,
I don't like that one.
I don't love it either, but well, we'll see. I mean, he's a kid, and there's things about RJ Barrett I like. I don't love the shooting and the fact that he doesn't seem to have an elite skill. But young boy, you never know. Sometimes those guys go into the summer and they come out and you like, where did this come from?
You know what I like about him? I like that he is a baller. He's a killer.
Yeah,
Like
love that.
mentality wise,
Absolutely
he's a
love
killer.
that.
And I'll take that because I think there's something to gain from that. But the same concerns that you have, I have because it bothers me that he's not a freak athlete. And if you're not a freak athlete and you're also not an insanely high percentage shooter either, that worries me.
What are we talking about?
That worries me. That worries me. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So but anyway, if I was to list the destinations, honestly, because of Jerry West, I want to say the Clippers. But if I was a superstar who wasn't a guard, going to that guard core in Brooklyn, being in the Eastern Conference, knowing that from 5 down, you don't have to worry about those teams. I think the top of the Eastern Conference is really strong. But if Kawhi leaves the Raptors, now you're talking about from 4 down. And if because they have more mobility in the Eastern Conference too. So if Kawhi and Kyrie Irving switch teams, you're really just looking at Milwaukee at this point. No disrespect to Indiana, but if you're one of those free agents, you ain't worried about them. You could literally go to Brooklyn and be like, I just gotta worry about Giannis. Whereas, I'm of the mind that in the West, Golden State is still going to be Golden State.
Yeah,
Clay
well,
ain't going nowhere,
unless Clay leaves.
but he ain't going nowhere, right?
Well, see, that it's funny that you say that, because I got a beautiful setup for the Nets, and it's so Nets because it's lower profile, but I think that it could really work.
Clay ain't trying to come out to Brooklyn.
Well, Clay is the top shelf, but even if they don't get Clay, I think that I think there's other avenues for them to explore. You got Tobias Harris, you have Nikola Vucevic, and then one that I really like for their team is Julius Randle. I love Julius Randle.
Julius Randle would be a good pickup for them. He'd be a great pickup for them, actually.
I love that.
So that's a great example. Like if they got, Julius Randle and Kawhi Leonard, on paper, people would be like, "Oh, that's an okay free agency," but the reality of that situation is like, what's going on right here?
Because you got to think. See, so many people. I'm telling you, 2K has been bad for people, because so many people look at this team building thing like they're playing 2K or like they're playing my team. You gotta, in real life, you gotta make this stuff fit, and the skills and the chemistry and all of that stuff has to fit. These teams are great teams when things fit. That's when they're great teams. And you put Julius Randle with the way he plays now, that the hard drives to the basket, the improvement on the defense. He's even shooting threes. He's hitting threes now.
Yeah, he's great.
And
underrated, really underrated right now.
Dude, he averaged 21 and 7.
Yeah.
Coming off the bench for a lot of that time, you know.
And he put up a couple of 30 and 10s this year.
Yeah, man.
He's still a young player, and again, the situation in New Orleans is less than desirable.
Exactly, which is why I think he might leave.
Yeah, and if you put him in a better situation, that's a good call out. Good job.
I know.
Sometimes you ain't so bad. You like Slim Pepper Jack. Every once in a while you get a hit.
Every once in a while I get a home run, bro. Grand slam, as a matter of fact.
I said hit, but
I had a grand. You haven't been watching the episodes. I hit a grand slam in the episode, in my last episode. If you saw
when that one go up.
If you saw Slim Pepper Jack hit a grand slam on the Road to the Show series, somebody say something in the chat. If you saw that, because
last time I saw Slim Pepper Jack, you were saying I got hits and did my job. Can't blame this one on me.
That's right.
That's what I saw last. Maybe I missed that episode.
I had a game where I hit a grand slam. I drove in, I think, another run. I was on fire. So
to wrap it up, so we both kind of have the Nets number one. So my thing with the Nets and the Clippers, Jerry West, greatest of all time, right?
I definitely think he's in the conversation for sure.
Oh, I take Jerry above.
I haven't thought about that, so
okay, fair enough. But he's in the conversation. Yeah. Doc Rivers, as good of a coach as you get without being named Greg Popovich, right?
Right.
And they have a lot of veteran pieces. They're already a playoff team. Great situation. But I like the young talent of Brooklyn better across the board. Younger coach in Kenny Atkinson, career-wise.
I like him, really like him.
Fantastic. D'Angelo Russell looks like he's going to be an absolute monster. Extremely underrated passer. You look at the way the Nets fought the 76ers, they don't even have a big, and they're going up against Joel Embiid. The way they play defense on him by committee, quite frankly, if Joe hit a couple of shots for us, it'd be a totally different.
Joe Harris, right?
Joe Harris, yeah. He was like 0 for 12 in 2 games, which is the best on wide open shots. He pulled a Danny Green.
It's crazy, man. I got a stat. I did a video, and so I'm not going to spoil it now, but I did a video. The quality of shooting that Joe Harris just demonstrated during the regular season this year was really insane. So the fact that he was that bad in the postseason, is really disappointing.
0 for 12 stretch over 2 games, disgusting. Yeah. And what I said if the Nets hit shots, Philly's in trouble. Best 3-point shooter in the league didn't hit shots. They got away with one. I didn't think they should feel particularly good about that, because literally, if he had just hit some of those shots, that series would have been much longer. So, and the way they played, they didn't hang their heads. They didn't talk crap. They didn't say any. You know what I'm saying? They stayed together in defeat. I think they got a good, valuable learning experience. It was a classic first time we made the playoffs kind of situation against a team with 4 All-Stars. If you insert any of the top flight free agents that's not a point guard onto that team, whether it's Kawhi, whether it's Kevin Durant, you automatically get a team that should be top 3 in the Eastern Conference. If you add a secondary guy, like you're saying, like a Julius Randle, you talk about being good for
you
a
talking about,
long time.
and you're talking about a top 2-3 team in the East at the very least.
Right away. And here's the thing. I think with Kenny Atkinson and Sean Marks
Yes.
behind them,
Yes.
because Sean Marks is just getting started.
Yes.
He's been digging out of a hole.
Yes.
And came up with a playoff team.
And don't forget Spencer Dinwiddie off that bench.
Oh, love Spencer. I try to say their guard core because I think their guard rotation is all the way amazing. But Spencer Dinwiddie, again, you're talking about a guy, elite bench point guard. Like literally could be starting for most of the teams in the league coming off the bench. And don't whine about it. And he's cool with that role.
And you know what really irritates me?
His last name and his 70s goatee?
No. We had him. We gave,
we
gave him away.
Yep.
And now we're looking for a point guard.
Yep.
Insane. In the membrane. Just crazy.
Spencer and Russell are both there. Dinwiddie's Mook Allen's asking in the chat, do they have to choose?
No, I don't think they have to choose.
No, they just Dinwiddie already signed. To my recollection, he already signed. They're going to look to retain D'Lo down the road.
And what you just said was key. He's cool with it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to start. He's
not tripping. I mean, I'm sure he'd start if they want him to, but
he's
not.
No,
one thing about Spencer Dinwiddie, if you pay attention to him, he's a different kind of cat.
He is.
He's a different kind of cat. He's not that, so the way you would think all these other people think, he's a different kind of cat. Now he is about his money though. So
he already got paid.
Did he though?
I think they signed him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he's already re-signed through he has a player option for for the 21-22 season, but he signed an extension, a 3-year, $34 million extension, which is a freaking bargain for a 25-year-old point guard who has proven that he could start for most teams.
Yep. And he's got tons of skills. He's got pick and roll, finishing, shoot the three, great physique. Guys, I mean, in terms of backup point guards, he's a 5-star prospect.
Who has a better backup point guard?
Not many.
I don't know if anybody does.
I'm not sure if I could think of a better backup point guard off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody. He's 6'6".
Yeah,
I don't think anybody has a better backup point guard than him. Whose backup point guard averaged 17 points and 4.6 assists this season and knocked down 81% of their free throws? I don't know anybody who's backup point guard who did that. So I would think he's
fast, tall. Yeah. So if I was a player, I would choose the Nets. I could see how the Clippers would be number 1. The Knicks, if I was a younger player, I like the Knicks because I like what they're doing going forward, and they have a lot of flexibility, and they could possibly sign another person because they have a lot of good young players. Because I think in terms of the young players going forward, the Knicks possibly have some of the most talented players. Like, I really do think very highly of Mitchell Robinson and Trier, and I think Knox is still a roll of the dice, but it's a good roll of the dice because he's 6'9", he can already shoot the three, and he really is a late bloomer basketball-wise. So he's one of those guys that once he matures, you don't know what he could turn into. So the Knicks could, like this draft class this year could wind up being wild for the Knicks. But I think they need time, And I want them for today. Brooklyn, KD could have joined Brooklyn the day before the playoffs started, and they still be playing right now.
Yeah. I think that's a good team. That is a very good team. And they're one of those teams where I feel like it was good for them to make the postseason because they're already moving where they're moving, and
100%.
Making the playoffs didn't slow them down.
No, they're competitive guys too. So
yes,
and Joel Embiid talking all that smack. Thank you. The young and Jared Allen backing up his young guys and being that veteran. Thank you. We've seen great teams come together before. All this right here. This is how it goes. So if the Nets manage to get somebody, I think, and plus, it's Brooklyn, man. Like, Brooklyn is a great place to live now too.
Yeah.
That's obviously it's New York City.
Especially if you're already rich.
Yeah. If you're rich coming to New York, I mean, you're gonna have the time of your life. So yeah. It's a little bit more low key than Manhattan just in terms of travel and stuff and like eating. It's just not as many people there.
Yeah.
So you can live fairly close And honestly, the way Brooklyn is, after you play for that team for a couple of months, people are just like, yo, what's up, D-Lo? You just go about your business. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So, yeah, I
It's
think I would pick Brooklyn first. And that's not a hometown thing. It's because I genuinely think the front office and the young talent are add superstar and stir. My problem with the Clippers is I think they're doing a lot of things with veteran talent, and I think some of that veteran talent has to move. I don't
I,
think Danilo Gallinari and Patrick Beverley are here in 3 years contributing to a championship team. I think those guys get moved. Now, Jerry West has the talent to move them, and Doc Rivers has the talent to coach whoever they bring in, but it's not add Durant and stir the way it is with Brooklyn. I say literally, like you said, change nothing else about Brooklyn. Add Kawhi Leonard and Julius Randle, and the rest of y'all take a back seat.
yeah. I mean, I don't. I wouldn't. I like the Clippers the best. Just as an overall situation, because I feel like they're the closest to contention, but at the same token, I can see Patrick Beverley contributing down the line. I cannot see Danilo Gallinari as a part of contributing as a championship. He has to be one of the 3 to 5 worst defenders in the NBA.
I'm betting on father time with Beverly. Beverly's 6 feet tall,
Hmm.
and I mean I think he'll get spot minutes down the line. But
Yeah, yeah,
what he's
it's
doing
definitely
right
spot.
now, but this is what I'm saying. What he's doing right now, the Nets, what all of those guys are doing right now, 5 years, they're all gonna be better at it year after year. There ain't too many people on the Clippers that are getting better.
Well, see, my thing is, I don't think you need Patrick Beverley to necessarily play the same role he's playing right now. If you add in somebody like Kimba, and you're because he's not going to get those same minutes,
Right.
and
But that's my
so
point though, is that with the Clippers, is I think Jerry and Doc can make it into a thing, but I think it's a new thing. Whereas the Brooklyn Nets, I tell them, don't change nothing. Just sign me and that guy over there, book it. We'll be playing in June.
and I don't think that's
Especially
crazy.
since the Nets could shoot.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. I don't think that's crazy. I don't think that's crazy at all. I don't know. I think it's probably Doc Rivers. I really like Doc Rivers, and I really like Steve Ballmer as an
I love
owner.
Doc.
I
Ballmer's
think,
great, but I also love Kenny Atkinson. So
yeah, I like Kenny Atkinson, but I just feel like their ownership and their overall vibe that they have right now is so inviting and so fan and player friendly right now. That
yeah,
overall
I,
vibe around
I
that
agree on
team.
all points.
So, but I really love the way D'Angelo is becoming a leader, and he's doing it the right way. So it's those two. It's
Yeah,
definitely
it's
those
definitely
two.
those two. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Because when you look at D'Angelo and Spencer Dinwiddie, I'm like, man, can you go to a team with a better point guard, backup point guard situation than that team, considering D'Lo is still young?
Mhm.
And like I said, if you watch D'Lo, I know you started watching him a lot more as the season went
This
on.
this year, I started
Like,
watching them a lot more this year.
yo, didn't it look like he was almost improving with every dribble sometimes?
It definitely he definitely improved. I think month over month,
Like crazy. Like,
because he just his comfort level. It felt like he had all of the things go on in LA that went on, not to mention the fact that he was still just a kid growing into his own game, and he was immature in a lot of ways. And I think he got to Brooklyn, and somebody was able to convince him to relax and just get better at basketball. And that's why I said what I said about I think he's a top 5 point guard in the league. That's why I said that, because I just really feel that I'm from watching him, man, watching his feel on the court, his ability to get his own shot, but then knowing when, all right, I just killed him for 4 straight buckets. Watch his dime. Just
oh,
that
it's
feel he feel he
underrated
has for the game.
passer, and I don't know how a young passer who has been projected to be a good passer goes so underrated, because I know he's also a scorer. But
Hmm.
I think from a passing perspective, there's not too many young point guards I'd take over him from a passing
Now,
perspective. Just passing alone.
originally when he came out, they said that his best attribute was passing.
That's what I'm saying. He was supposed
That's
to be
what,
this great
yeah,
pick and roll player,
yeah,
and he shoots the ball for a couple of years, and people forget that that's in his skill set. And
yeah.
when I'm watching, there was this one game, and we could get off of it after this, but like they were playing against Portland in that long like overtime game, the game Nurkic got hurt,
Hmm.
and they were pressing him and taking the ball out of his hands, and the way he received the pressure, gave the rock up, came back, got it back. I mean, you know, put somebody on his hip, take the floater, get fouled, make the pass. You don't see young point guards make elite level right play, elite level decision making over and over and over again in sequence like that.
Yeah.
Usually a mistake or a hurried thing or blah blah will come up. I'm looking at that, and I really feel like he is that new age player that can fit into a lot of systems. And if I was Durant in particular, I would love to play with D'Lo. I could tell him some stuff about Steph and be like, do this, do that, boom, boom. Get with Kenny Atkinson, and we got all these shooters. We play hustle defense, and we're in a conference that's, you know, tough up top, but doesn't have a lot of depth.
Yeah.
Whereas with
I
the
would.
Clippers, I got to play against Steph Curry and LeBron James and, you know, Dame and Jokic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just never ending, right? Like, you're fighting for every inch.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I love Brooklyn, and so I definitely think that it's something to be said for both of them.